Hey, hey,
Hello.
whoa. We're a little small.
We're smaller.
Small.
Yeah,
Boom.
I've heard that before.
We're supposed to be bigger on the internet.
Yeah, everything's bigger in Texas.
And on the internet. Anyway, what's up, everybody?
What's going on? Tuesday afternoon here in good old Texas.
Very nice weather for this today. I was thinking earlier how it's going to be when it's like 105. We may have to go.
Well, we was here when it was negative 105.
Right. Yeah.
So I think we can figure it out.
We'll do something.
Put a window unit in here.
Yeah. I got a couple windows.
Yeah. Put a unit in it.
That's it.
Perfect.
I never had that one open. That's been closed since I got it. So
you put one over there, you might hit your head walking by.
Oh yeah, but there's metal under it, so
well,
we'll be all right.
Okay.
We'll be all right. What's everybody up to?
Yeah.
And let me get over the comments.
Get over the comments.
I'm lagging.
Before we get really started, I'd like to say, we lost Hunter Hobson, a friend of ours that we raced with and everything. I'm hoping drink this beer for him today. His memorial is a Saturday. He was a racer and a friend, and he's going to be missed by a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't remember if I met him live or not, but I've talked to him on the internet and always.
He's come over in our pit a couple times and stuff after races and stuff. He's a real good dude, and it's tragic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so this beer here is for Hunter, and probably the next one too.
They say only the good die young, so
I'm gonna live a long time.
I should make it a while. To Hunter Hobson.
There you are. But and this weekend at Highway 19, they're going to have a little benefit race for him and stuff. Try and raise some money. I think somebody else saying something about like a memorial race for him, and I'm not sure all the details on that. But on my personal page, I've shared their GoFundMe and some other stuff that people are doing. So if you are interested in trying to help out, he's had 2 kids and a wife, and a lot of people that really cared about him. And so if you want to get on there and help out, I got links on my personal page. So anyway,
do that.
We'll get past the sad stuff. What we got going on this week? What's been going on?
Well,
what you been doing over here?
I'm just wondering how long it's going to be before we're doing this show as cartoons now.
Well, any day now. I'm getting it figured out. I almost showed up as a cartoon.
Right.
Just me a cartoon. You're still like Roger Rabbit.
Drive up, get out of the truck, and you're just a cartoon. That's been interesting from my side of it to watch you go through because it started as pictures, and then you figured out how to get some video done, and now you're getting the voices, and the videos are getting longer, and they look like they're doing insanely well.
They're doing pretty good. I'm really happy about that. Hopefully in the next little bit I can have like a full episode of something, 10 minutes long maybe. I don't think anything longer than that is really necessary for that sort of thing, but something of some length. These are kind of like snippets that I'm doing, which is fine for a lot of what I'm doing, but I like some stuff that's some closer to 5 minutes.
Well, and I mean, you do memes, so that going to real short form video is not a big jump, and then
it's like video memes basically.
Right? Yeah. It would be Bradley, but no, you're not.
You're not late.
Nah.
Is your old lady late? That's the real question. Oh. But the cartoon stuff. I'm gonna make Bradley a cartoon too.
Right on.
He don't know it, but that's what I'm gonna do.
I see some people do when they make the jump from TikTok. There's one guy in particular that I'm thinking of, and I can't. Dan Hamer, and he makes a lot of TikTok videos, which are not very long, but when you go to YouTube, he's just combined them all into one and I can't remember what he calls them, but he'll have like an hour-long video, and it's just a compilation of
like
all his
a montage
little,
or whatever.
little short videos,
Yeah.
you know. So
yeah, my buddies with the Journey HQ, they do a lot of clips during the day, and then I think they some of that goes into their YouTube channel, and I don't know how often they post on YouTube in the long format stuff. They also go to a lot of events, car shows. They promote car shows. They're building cars, so a lot of that is all compressed into one, and they might be filming that kind of stuff for months. I don't know, and then putting it on YouTube. But
I need to follow them.
you should. They that's a really good page. They do a lot of LS stuff,
and I like. What are they copying is, I'm not saying the right word, but copying is the sincerest amount way of flattery, you know, whatever. I got that completely wrong. But I like Ethan Dotson's whoever his social media guy is. I'm like watching them videos and being like, how is that edited? What are they like? I get into like I'm probably good for 10, 15 views on one of his videos because I'm pausing it. I'm like, and so I like when people are doing cool stuff. I like to go through and watch it and see how they're doing it, because if it interests me, then I figure that's a good video, you know, and I need to be doing that.
Well, there's a lot that I like that's just not necessarily the whole thing, copying that type of deal, but you like say, okay, I like the way they video that or edited or clip those two things together. And I've asked Sander a bunch of questions on like how are you making this happen? Like, what's this called? You know,
right?
Because there's a lot of stuff like if you're self-taught on a bunch of this stuff, like I am or you are, like I ask you a bunch of stuff, and we and because you usually got the time or the patience, I should say, to figure it out. I got the time, just not the patience. So but there's just a lot that we don't know, and we don't know that we don't know it.
Okay, so AI has become a big thing with me in just like you're talking about right there, almost in search terms. Now, because sometimes instead of Googling, I'll ask AI, I'll let Chat GPT, I'll ask it, what is this even called? I'll explain like something going on, and I'll be like, when I go to search for this, what do I need to call it? Because sometimes you'll spend an hour searching on Google just trying to get the wording right of what you're trying to find.
We got to get through a page of sponsored ads for shit that had nothing to do with what you're doing on Google too.
I don't remember offhand what the last thing was but
I'm trying to look at Sydney Sweeney's titties. I don't need a fucking ad, man.
But I was just I was like, in a video, what do they call it when it does this and this, you know? And ChatGPT was all, it can be called this or it can be called this, but that at least gives you something to go search for in that, you know. It's definitely becoming, and I don't want to make this all a ChatGPT or anything, but I had to get some blood pressure medicine this morning. And I know I talk to ChatGPT 5 times a week, you know, daily. I'm talking to ChatGPT, and that's what I was.
Oh, mic down.
Mic down. That's what I was talking to. I didn't have a doctor on the other end of that. That's some database but they managed to get my blood pressure medicine to the pharmacy, right? So I'm like, okay, it's all right.
It is handy. I've asked it some off the wall stuff, like dealing with this cartoon stuff, and I'm like, what do I like? What style of cartoon is it? Like, I don't like, because there was one that I liked more than the other ones, and when you're dealing with some of that stuff, it's kind of random. So I figured that out to where everything's pretty consistent, you know, and I think that'll help me in the long run on that. But I mean, some people don't like the AI stuff. Excuse me, but some of it can be very helpful. I think.
Mine has started to use some slang and almost get to cuss words, and I don't cuss at it. Like I don't know but I think it
just knows you're a cool guy.
It's slowly growing more personable, I guess. I was doing something the other day, and it was like, this would make a hell of a video, and then I said something about like doing one of the videos, and we should change it to whatever. And it's like, that'd be badass. And I'm just like,
Wait till you have to get it to change something that it did, and it goes, "Fuck, really?"
yeah.
It starts arguing with you
After the third question. It's like, you stupid son of a bitch.
Yeah. Come on, dude. Just figure it out. Figure it out on your own.
Hire somebody. How about that? You hire somebody to do this that knows.
Yeah.
So yeah, but anyway, it's become a part of our lives, I guess, and especially yours here lately.
Yeah, well, it's like it's just it's so new to me, and everybody had a good reaction to it, and so it made me want to do more of it, and I've always wanted to do something like that anyways, and you get to at the next level. I think taking the page to the next level and getting some stuff done, and I've been looking for that, been looking for a revitalization of the page and making things a little better. So.
Bradley says that his modified is still on track for 2027.
Yeah, I tell him, I said, you've been building that thing so long, before you even get it done, you're gonna have to put updates on it.
Yeah,
and that's a running joke I have with him. And he'll post something, I go, "This is why you're not. This is why you don't have your car done yet."
Stacy asked me, she's like, "Are you going to Highway 19, or are we going racing this next weekend?" And I'm just like, "No, like, I'm gonna take a break. I want to get some hoses and stuff. I want to get all that done. I have the body off of it, so I just want to get a bunch of stuff done with the body off."
Yeah, your cars match right now almost.
They do.
Neither of them have a body on.
My neighbors love me. They're both in the front yard with no body on it. So, but maybe one day we'll do a live walk around of my front yard. I'm that neighbor. I'm the one that the only reason that they like me is because I can weld and do stuff.
You keep fixing all their shit.
They'll bring me some stuff, and I try not to charge them too much because I know I'm a pain in the ass over here. I'd give them either. The guy brought me a boat for his something the other day. I had to weld onto it. He's like, "What I owe you?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it, man."
Yeah, don't bitch when I crank this car up later. Check the timing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Luckily, I live in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
And my closest neighbors are family. I remember us working on my dad's race car one time at the shop, and my grandma's been in the automotive industry her whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She used to work at a parts store. My grandpa had a machine shop.
I've heard her talk sometimes, and she's pretty sharp on. She can hold a conversation real well with.
Oh yeah. But we were at the shop working on Dad's car, and it's popping and doing some weird shit, and he's stumped. And for my dad to be stumped, it's a big deal, right? Because he knows his shit.
Right.
Well, here comes Nana walking over there. This has been a while back now. She was probably in her late 60s at this point. She come walking over there. And it sounds like, I forget whatever the deal was. Boy, sure enough, that's what it was. Dad's like, "I can't believe this shit,"
Yeah.
But I always thought that was real funny because we were over there trying to figure it out. And she was gardening in the yard, She's over there doing some stuff.
Right.
She come walking over. Hey.
One of the first times that I come to your shop, I don't remember what for, but you were working under a car and you were struggling a little bit. And
that don't even narrow it down.
Right. But your dad, he made the comment. He's like, "Billy, you want me to call your Nana and have her come do that for you?" And I thought it was funny as hell just because. But then now I know she might have been able to get it done. So it's even funnier because I look back on that and I'm like, dude, he might have been serious at that point.
That's a running joke for us. Is we just try to think of somebody that couldn't fix it. Or come to you want to just go get this little kid or whatever. Yeah. Just to get under each other's skin,
which happens a lot at you guys' shop.
Oh yeah, it's rarely serious over there. If it is serious, it's not for long,
So sometimes it does, and I'm gonna out Jesse here, but I remember at the Fred Lobster, Jesse pulled you aside and was like, "You or Dad have got to settle down." I don't remember what it was about, but apparently you guys were butting heads about something, and Jesse was just like, "You've got to settle down." and like he was real quiet about it, but just I don't know what's going to go on, but something has to give.
Me and Dad, we both got the same name, and we tend to argue sometimes,
Yeah.
but we get over it, But same with me and Jesse and Dad and Jesse. Well, but there's always got to be one of us that's in the middle that says, "Hey,
Right.
chill out," and then it's all good after that. I think that was about going and getting that limited.
It probably, yeah.
And I was like, just go get the son of a bitch. I don't care. And of course, that's what happens,
Well, yeah, but I was encouraging that 100%. I was behind Jesse, just like whispering in his ear, if you don't go get that thing, you'll wish you had, and you just be sitting there not racing and mad in the stands.
I was hearing you, dude. I know you was whispering to him, and I was hearing you, dude. Yeah. I was just like, I don't want to work on it.
Yeah.
Like the whole weekend, we've been drinking, and I was like, I don't want to work on it because that car had been sitting for like 3 months or since December. That was like
you've been sitting and needed a gear change, which you knows is a rear end change.
The whole rear end. It didn't have the roof on it.
Yeah.
We didn't even know where all that stuff was at because we was at a topless race. It needed a bunch of stuff, and I'm just like, I don't want to fucking work on it.
Right.
Mainly, I don't care what you do, but I'm not working on it. And what I ended up doing, I ended up putting the roof and stuff on it while they were changing the rear end, which I was fine. Like, I don't want to change the rear end. So,
yeah. That's good.
And then he ended up getting like third.
Yeah.
I think that night.
Yeah, I think he was running and had to drive to get there too. I don't think he started up.
No, he pulled off early in the heat race because he ran out of tear-offs or something. I forget what the deal was. He pulled them all off, and the track was real. That was at Lone Star, and it does this weird shit because it's a lot of sand. It's like wet sand, and it just piles hit you. It's not like you're getting hit by mud. It's like piles of dirt hitting you. About like the Fred Lobster.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, but yeah. That was good times there too.
Yeah, I think that the Fred Lobster's coming up here this week or next week, or I don't know.
I've been keeping my eye out for a good Volkswagen.
Dude, I want a Volkswagen just for driving down the highway. I'm gonna look while we're on here talking about it. Let me look it up.
It doesn't help that I'm broke, but there was one that was like a Baja Bug, but then I think it was cut up probably too much to pass as a.
I still would have got it just for have a Baja Bug, but
it's still on there.
Yeah,
it was at $300. Now it's down.
The 25th, I think. 25th and 26th is the Fred Lobster race.
And if you don't know about that, you need to because
it's the most redneck thing I've ever done.
Yeah,
which says a lot. I've done probably more than most.
You just take a 4-banger street car and basically see how many laps you can go as fast as you can. There's got to be 3 drivers.
Four for Saturday.
Four drivers.
If you make the race,
And I blew their last car up.
Yeah. But I might have started that. I did get it pretty hot. I was leading, and so I wasn't looking at gauges. But and it got real hot and went into limp mode. Then after that, we worked on it, and you took the lead on all that on changing all that, and then we went back out, and it was just a dog.
Yeah, it was pretty. I could just pretty much just keep it matted the whole time.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, was Lee scared to drive it or something? And then all of a sudden I see a big ball of fire, and then some smoke, and then you pull in, and you're like, what? You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm over there like a jug of water, like a antifreeze jug, and then people coming over with fire extinguishers. It was.
I'd have had that video ready if I'd have known that our conversation was going to drift this direction.
We can always go next week.
But yeah, and I could hear like, okay, you're in there. You have the windows up because it's dirty, and that's the best way to go about it. Is just go ahead and have the windows up, and so you can hear really good. There's just 4 cylinders, and
I had the radio on.
He whoever was on the transponders told me I was on fire, and I'm like, okay. I didn't see a fireman where I was, so I went ahead and just drove it on around and exited the racetrack, got out of the way for everybody, and there wasn't any fire coming through the floorboards or anything.
I don't know how the thing ran that far. There was a fucking piston rod laying on the skid plate.
It was still running just as good as it did before the fire, too.
Yeah. Like, how long has it been like that? That's what I want to know. It just took a while to catch on fire.
It just spit it out.
What if it did that when I was driving and you was out there racing for laps? You know,
right? We just never noticed.
You didn't get to make like 10 laps, probably.
Yeah.
That was each other. Like, you think it's still good? I was having no, here's a fucking rod right here.
I pulled in with the night before with the enduro car to go run it at Lone Star.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I had the fastest car there. I just didn't get to unload it and put it on the track.
I don't know. You might have. It might have been too rough for that car.
It would have been.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was funny. Lone Star was just as rough as that track was.
It was. It was.
Yeah, but fuck that was. I remember somebody coming and going, "Are you gonna race this thing?" Like, no, you dumbass. I want to get the Ranger fixed for that. I need to get with Chris and see, because he said something about changing those injectors. If we do that, we can bring it.
Yeah,
but I mean, we all throw in and get, if I can get it running good, we all throw in and pay for the entry.
Yeah,
because it's kind of pricey, but the whole thing goes to, I forget what it is, Bikers for Kids or something like that. It's a good benefit,
right? Yeah, you don't win any money, you get a trophy, and
you get to drink and drive.
Yeah, they encourage it.
Yeah, I mean, I got an open face helmet just so that I could have a beer in the car with me. And that used to be a rule. You had to drink a 6-pack before you could race. So I don't know how they kept up with that, but I guess it got to where that was too much, or it was an insurance issue. I don't know. But it is still recommended. They have signs up when you pull in that says, "This is not a good idea."
Right.
And it's not. But it kind of is a great idea. But don't wreck.
Yeah.
Don't fuck up. Which is at any track. But this one, there's no roll cages or racing seat belts or racing a tire.
And some of those, when I was there, like those Kias with the turbos were getting around there pretty good.
Yeah.
They were.
That's like, as long as it has a stock turbo on it and all this, I think that's all legal. It has to be on their stock. That little Nissan that Dad had that we was running, it was pretty quick. I was surprised with it. And then we're driving. I remember the first time we took it, and I'm driving it through there, and somebody goes, "Man, people are bringing really expensive cars up here." And I'm like, "We just paid like fucking, I forget what it was, like $400 or $500 for this car. It'd been wrecked or something." And then so I got back and I started Googling what the hell it was. And I was like, "Oh, this is their hot rod Mitsubishi." Let's see.
What do you do? Let's see what that old comment there is.
Say, what do you about front wheel drive racing? I drive a 2003 Cavalier automatic. What do I know about it? Maybe. I don't know much about them. I drove the Fred Lobster stuff, and that was that car Dad had was the only front wheel drive. And then I raced front wheel drive one night at Rose Bowl, probably 8 years ago. And I don't know. It wasn't for me. It's a lot different than a rear wheel drive car. I mean, I'm all for if that's what you want to race, that's what you want to race. I think if you're wanting to start out and move up, and you need to gain as much knowledge about how a car handles from one class to move up to the next. Say you're going from like a whatever beginner class to a pure stock class or a street stock type class, some hobby stock or something.
Right.
I think that if a Crown Vic option is an option, I would go with that because the rear wheel drive car handles way different.
Well, they're almost, I'm going to venture to say almost opposite, because you see in some of them classes where they let them really do a lot of adjustments and stuff. All the fast guys go into the turns carrying the left rear.
Yeah.
They're like they have them uh, so much reverse cross for what we would call on the scales, trying to plant the left front that they're driving off of.
Yeah.
That their left rear is just dangling in the air.
Yeah, there was some video that was going around. I know Paul that was on here last week was commenting. I know he had shared it, and he's a big front wheel drive guy, and I think had like over 1 million views. But it was a car, the left rear is this high off the ground. I thought that was just funny looking to me. Right, you know what I mean? But some of those cars, like you get further out east, they got some motors in them, and they're hauling ass. And I've made a lot of jokes and stuff about them because around here it's the the beginner class or whatever you want to call it, and the budget class, like there's nothing they can do to them. So they're not fast out here. You just hear people on the rev limiter and they'll blow them up and cut the cage out and put it in another car the next week. It's like bare bones minimum shit. But then I didn't realize that they were that badass at other places. Right. You know?
That in Bakersfield, they called them mini stocks, but the front wheel drive cars got where they were dominant. And the CRXs that don't look fast at all, they have the hatchback, and they were dominant out there. Like if you didn't have a CRX, you weren't going to get it done.
I see a lot of hatchbacks that was out here that's almost like I call them puddle jumpers, but it's like the little bitty, almost looks like an SUV shrunk down.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the ones that are I usually see doing pretty good.
This is well. Oh shoot, we got comments here.
Yeah. Evening, what's up, guys? Is tire temp a huge deal like it is for asphalt? I like both, but honestly, I just love racing. And even though I know it's money going out the window, man, tire temp is a big deal. You build a lot of air on the right rears and stuff. And the first thing we usually do when we get out of the car is I'll go around and fill the rear tires. I want them to be as even as possible.
Yeah. You guys do that a lot. Like that's something I didn't do a whole lot of out in is just as long as it was handling good, I was all right with it. But you got like your whole family gets out immediately, and that's the first thing.
That's a dad. Dads just put that in our minds. You know what I mean? But you can kind of tell a lot about what the car is doing, even if you're fast. If your right rear is boiling hot. Yeah. And I've had cars where I got out and the left rear was hotter.
Yeah.
So it's just something that you can say, all right, well, if that tire is hot, then that means I need more spring there. That's the way I think about it.
We got Bradley. Left front would be coming off the ground from low cross. The same way. Yeah.
No, we're talking about left rear.
Yeah. Yeah, their left rear's coming off.
Yeah, their left rear's coming off the ground. God damn it, Brad.
Pay attention, Brad.
Yeah.
We got Skinny. Hey, guys, out here in the shop working and watching. I bet that's supposed to be you boys. He's probably doing talk to text.
Yeah, watch it. Yeah. Watching New Boys. That sounds a little gay.
Wait a minute. New Boys. New Boys. New Boys on the block.
Skinny, do you have something to tell us? And we lost a sponsor.
Yeah. No more sponsor. Nah, he's cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, we do appreciate the sponsorship. If y'all are out there in Kern County, Bakersfield, California specifically, get by and see Skinny. We got some more comments, but let's throw up the little Skinny logo right quick.
That's our buddy. Another one of your friends named Chris. But everybody calls him Skinny.
So anyway, does an awesome job, automotive shop out there, and we always say go there in the evening because you probably catch him cooking, and that's really good too.
Yeah.
So
where there's smoke, there's fire, you know.
Exactly, and there's tends to be a lot of smoke around Skinny.
Yeah, that's an odd thing. It's like you're not even cooking nothing right now. There's cooking, but there's some bacon going on.
Right, it's something. Yeah, definitely. Left rear, he says, okay, he corrected himself.
He said he can't type. We know that.
I meant left rear, just can't type.
Uh,
We got Christopher White said he would wear the bikini next time.
Yeah. Would it be a real dirty one? That's what I want to know because he always wears the dirty white tees. So I was like, is it going to be just a real dirty,
just dirty belly, just dirty belly on it?
I would hate to see that. I love Chris to death. I would hate to see him in any sort of bikini or a crop top, even maybe. I wouldn't even. I don't think I would want to see any of that.
Oh,
Chris is a hairy dude.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends named Chris.
Yeah,
we'll throw this one up. We're
got it. Hey,
Bradley likes that one. That's his favorite.
Yeah. So here we are.
We got
Dustin with Comprehensive Motorsports. He's usually set up over there at Boot Hill selling parts and stuff. I'm sure he'll be at that 30,000 to win while we're over there.
Is he has he always done a lot of social media, or is he ramping it up here lately?
I think he's ramping it up lately. And he's kind of a night owl, so he does a lot at night. You won't see him all day, and then you see him at night.
I'm starting to notice a lot. I didn't know if it was just because I liked a couple of them, and you know how the algorithm works and whatever.
I think he's been ramping it up.
Yeah,
he's been ramping it up.
He's doing a lot. I still need to. Part of the reason I'm not running at Highway 19 this weekend is because I still need to get with him and get them hoses made.
Yeah.
Clinton Thompson grilled some good cheeseburgers tonight.
Hell yeah.
Can you fax this one over?
Yeah, Bluetooth us one. Send us an email of a cheeseburger.
Yeah. And so anyway, we'll let me see where that went. Oh, take that back off of there.
Yeah.
And so before we got on the comments, a thought run through my head. I just want to see if you've noticed this ever in your racing career. Talking about the mini stocks, the pit lizards, I feel like, have their hierarchy too.
Yeah.
They're like a girl new to racing that decides she likes racing guys doesn't get to go and bang the late model guys. That's just not how it works. No. I feel like there's a queen pit lizard and she keeps them all in check. They got to work up the divisions.
They got to work through them. They got to work through them. And you know something else I've noticed too, and this isn't an offensive thing to nobody. Personally, I'm not picking on nobody, but it seems like the smaller the car, the bigger the woman. And that's just me. I don't know but that's just something I've seen in the past.
Right.
I mean, and that's excluding sprint cars, right?
Yeah.
But maybe it's the smaller the engine, the big. I don't know. But
right.
That's a thing I feel like. But yeah, the more money you spend, the skinnier they get, or something. I think.
Well, yeah. There's some, because like when I used to go down to Ventura Raceway, which is predominantly a sprint car track. Yeah, there was. They always had hot chicks and like Model-esque in the pits. And we were always there, even with the IMCAs. The IMCA was a track pack division for them there. But
that's what it's like when the late models or sprint cars come around here. It's like, well, I'm glad they got us here so we can get the track ready for them.
Clinton was laughing at us.
He said, I've heard guys say before qualifying, pump up the tires. What's that about? Man, we don't do much qualifying and stuff. I know if you're having trouble with tires building air, you can put nitrogen in them, and I mean that's not always as easy to get, I reckon. But when my dad ran ARCA, they ran nitrogen in the tires to keep them from building air. So he ran ARCA before all the kids were even born that race it now. That was back when it was the old school guys running it. So
I tried to run bleeders one time, and I didn't have any luck with them. It was with the car that I'm using for an enduro car now. I felt like it was just too heavy and they were inconsistent because when you toss it in there and if you hit a rut or something, like that tire is going to have a lot more pressure in it and it's going to let a little bit out. And so like
I've thought that too. And then my thought is like, what if we're dealing with mud? What if it gets stuck?
Yeah.
And then you got a flat because of the thing that's supposed to keep the tire from, building air. Now it's making you lose air.
I felt they were pretty inconsistent, but Yeah, maybe sometimes put an extra pound or two compared to what you might race a heat race or main event, just so they're right there. You know, you're not going to heat them up a whole bunch qualifying usually.
Terry Marshall, this kid folks of mine, he said you can't have expensive car when you have to feed her. That's pretty funny right there. That's pretty funny.
We got Austin. What's Austin telling us down here?
Sometimes they hit up different classes at the same time.
Well, yeah, if they can.
That's when it's a traveling road hoe. Bradley said, "Do we run valve caps?" You know, my brother, he likes to run them, and I don't because I'm just lazy. I don't want to take them off, put them on. I just want to ride around and check the air or whatever we got to do. I'll leave them off of my daily vehicles. I'm just real lazy about it. But again, like I was just saying with the others, we deal with mud. It would make more sense. Now
I put them on.
If I run, say like a foam plug and something, which I posted a video of me with one that I was just fucking whatever, fucking around with, and I got a bunch of shitty comments on there like I was a dumbass. It's like I had it in there to keep mud,
right.
I had other stuff I was doing, right? But anyways, I always run one because I worry about that foam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pushing down on it right there.
Yeah, he's never ran the valve caps. Well, you don't even have tires on your car, dude. Why would you? You don't even have a finished car. Get a finished car, and then we'll talk about what your valve caps.
Yeah, I run them. There used to be
early 2000s. They were popular to have the light up on.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Robert Miller. And then our IMCA rep, I think it was him, come by and told him that they were technically illegal to have because it was an electronic device on his car, basically, that wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And Paul Vetter is a good guy. He did me a world of good when I was around a lot of IMCA races. He always got me in the paper somehow in their newsletter, and talked about how much I was traveling, because I was traveling a lot that year. So it helped me a lot with sponsors because I could show them the articles. So he was a great guy, but he was very hard nosed on the rules.
I miss seeing race results in the paper.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, that was a big thing, and I've got a few newspaper clippings. I have one from a night when I was running mini stocks. My dad was running hot stocks, which is like super stocks. Now there was like 3-link, clip car, almost kind of like late models or whatever, stock car stuff. It was kind of a mixed class of street stock type class. But anyway, it was one my mom ran my car in a powder puff, and my little brother ran a bicycle race, and me and Dad were racing. And me and Dad both won our heat and feature, and then Mom won the powder puff and at the end of the night, and Jesse won the damn bicycle race. And it says like the Mazzelle show or something like that. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, I got that done with not myself personally, but my brother-in-law Larry, and so my son, and their side of the family raced at Bakersfield Speedway for a long time. So we got 4 generations out there one night. I made it happen. I called Mark McCaslin. He had the Okie Bowl hardtops, which were generationally correct for Grandpa Larry to drive because they were the old cars, And then we had Daryl racing that night, and Larry racing, and Logan was racing his. And Larry and Daryl might have had a chance to win. I don't know if they did or not, but Grandpa Larry and Logan was not real aggressive as a driver back then. But but it was cool. They hyped it up in 4 generations of drivers and all that, so it was cool.
Yeah.
And what do we got here?
See, what's Clinton saying here? It's either mud or dry slick. No middle ground. Depends on how many beers water truck guy drinks. That's right. Yeah, man. Some tracks will have a little middle ground. You'll either it depends on where you're at or where the track's at. You'll see people moving around on the track a little more. Like that's why I like our track Highway 19 up here.
Yeah.
That's why I like running the top. Sometimes you get closer to that wall, you'll get some grip.
Yeah. I run up there a lot. My bumper, a lot of I scrape a lot.
I've had to zip tie my tailpiece back on to make it home a few times now.
And I thought about talking about this earlier in the week, and I'm glad that you just kind of reminded me. I was thinking the other day that I was watching old videos. We got a guy posting old videos from Bakersfield Speedway,
Yeah,
and
I watch them, all of them.
And I'm just like, why can't that track prep be like it was in the mid '90s? Why won't the tracks hold moisture anymore?
People don't want it.
Like, well, then here 2 or 3 days ago, I heard Tony Stewart talking about it, and he says
he's a drag racer.
Yeah, he's a drag racer now, but he was talking about Eldora and stuff, and his thoughts on it were the cars are hooking up so hard nowadays. We have the aggressive bar angles and all that stuff, and so it's building more heat.
Yeah,
because your tires are in the ground more, and he's like, tracks are impossible to keep tacky like they could 25 years ago. I said 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But 1996 was 30 years ago now.
Yeah.
I like to think that it was 5 or 6, but no, it's not. But yeah, he really elaborated on at Eldora and just like how hard the cars are hooking up and the heat that builds, And I also, I've known for years, but the like mud packing and you get packed vehicles out there, and that helps. But there's nothing like when you get cars out there with the engines and the headers down close to the ground, and that helps. You get 40 cars on the track with that, and that's drying up a lot too.
Right.
But I had never thought about the adhesion and the heat that the tires are building being a big part of why those tracks aren't like that anymore.
Yeah. Well, I always like a track that's got a little moisture in it. And people say, well, you can't. Anybody can win on a tacky track, but I feel like if that was the case, then the guys that are sucking because it's not dry slick would be winning. If anybody could win on it, I think certain people are better at different track conditions.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get myself better at dry slick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if track's hooked up, you can kiss my ass about saying it's a better driver, who's the better driver or whatever, because I'm gonna be willing the fuck out of it when it's hooked up. I feel like I drive way harder on a hooked up track than a slick track. A slick track, you're babying it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, then you're a gas pedal babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's not. This is my opinion, and people can argue with me about it all they want. I don't care. That's the way I've always thought. I bought a race car and I put a 4-barrel on it and I put horsepower in it so I could gas on it and drive the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
If I have to. It sucks having to let off to go into a corner for me.
Right.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
So, that's when I have the most fun. And that's what racing's supposed to be.
Yeah, it is the most fun, but also winning's fun. And for me, I was pretty good at dry slick tracks, and to the point where a lot of people thought I had traction control. I actually,
so you told me you did.
Yeah,
I just kidding.
I don't. I missed the time period, but I don't have any tattoos. But I was honestly, I wanted, if I'd had AI then to get it to design up the tattoo, I wanted something on the calf of my leg that resembled like a hydraulic rod and a spring, and then the traction control box and a knob that said dry and tacky.
Yeah.
I wanted to get that on there, and I just never did. And now it's like, that's so 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But
it's too late now.
Yeah, people really like. I got accused of having traction control a fair amount, and never did. But was like, that was. I like those dry slick tracks because I always had a good shot at winning. And it wasn't like I set some track records too on heavy stuff, but it was just easier to get them wins for me on dry slick tracks. And
but it's all to the person. You know what I mean? To the whatever the driver is better at, and they're going to be faster.
Well, and you're going to like that. Yeah, if I win more races on dry slick track, you're going to like driving dry slick tracks more than
I've won on both. Not that I've won a bunch of races, but I've won on both. But like I also think that running the enduros is a big help to that, because we get to run 150, 200 laps on a dry slick track
Yeah.
versus,
Right,
20
yeah.
laps in traffic when you can actually take your time and go, hey, this is how I need to drive.
Well, and the older and fatter I got, the more I like dry slick track too, because you just keep it real straight.
What Skinny says is because you're hungover.
That's for sure too. But I was looking at Jordan's comment here about you wearing a bikini while chugging beer.
Look, nobody wants to see that. Nobody.
Look at here what we got. We got we got Owen Pittman on
here. You can't promoters can't afford diesel for water truck.
We got
that's why he son of a bitch. Here we are again. Hey, but well, that's why he's also got an asphalt track, so we don't have to worry about water out there. He just got to worry about it getting rained on.
In Merced, Madera, they do the pumpkin smash in Duro, and it was usually a week or two after the Lone Star 600. It's asphalt, and they throw a bunch of pumpkins out there. And I've seen Rich Denman's car after, and it's just like black.
I can't imagine how much it smells.
I can't imagine how they get it all off of the racetrack.
God,
for an asphalt.
Oh, and you should do that with watermelons. So Houston Motorsports Park. Next weekend, next Saturday, the 19th, I'll be there running a Crown Vic car. So if you're in the Houston area,
that's asphalt.
That's asphalt.
I don't.
I've never raced asphalt before, other than doing it was like the Richard Petty driving experience type thing.
So my one experience of driving I got to drive a Crate Lake on asphalt, and you didn't have to baby them near as much as I thought. I felt like gonna have to really let off early, and that was not the case, and that might have just been because it was a crate deal. But being a crate, the only place you could gain any time was getting into the turn. You didn't want to get in so much you messed yourself up in the middle.
Yeah.
But so you're going in till you see God, whatever, like they say. It was crazy.
I'm looking forward to it. I want to see how it goes. I've never done a bunch of asphalt stuff other than the damn driving experience deal. So, and it seemed pretty simple. I was hitting the chip about halfway down the straightaway. The guy's over there pulling my leg up. Hey, let's fucking go, dude. Pull that reach. You can reach that MSD box. Pull that chip out.
So yeah, Skinny, he tells us, he's telling on me, 2-day show hungover makes you run smooth, and it did. I had
well, you're not drinking no more, so that's why you ain't been winning.
That's why I got no races. One in Texas. My buddy Levi Kiefer, his girlfriend was a bartender, and he would call her if she told him that I was at the bar. He would call her and be like, "Don't you get him drunk?" On Friday night when we were going to race. "Don't you get him drunk? I don't want to race him hungover tomorrow. I want him to be hungover."
That I would say that explains why I usually do better on Saturday at the 600. But I think a lot of it is because just because it doesn't matter. Because I'm drunk. We're drunk the night before we get to the track because we're usually partying because we got everything ready.
But Johnny Blanton, I don't hate you, brother. I'm here for you. I don't know if that's for you or me.
I don't know. Don't hate us.
Yeah,
I'm glad you don't. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're here for us.
And I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah, 19th. Yeah, we're going to the front. Hopefully, I have a better showing than I did last time I drove a Crown Vic at his dirt track there at South Texas Race Ranch. At the end of last year, but it started. I felt like every time I went out, it was either a driver problem. One time the transmission got a little low transmission fluid and it was shifting. I was leading and it started shifting. I said, "Oh, what the hell's going on?" And then the feature, I think the fuel pump started going out. I think the next time they cranked her up, the fuel pump was out. So I remember I got out. Owen's got the big old screen there in the infield. Yeah. And I pull off into the infield, and I just get out and I just walk over and start drinking beer with him. Well, I'm in the infield race suit on. Yeah, I'll get him. I have one. Yeah. It's always a good time hanging out with Owen. He's a good dude. He helps me out a lot. He's probably one of my bigger supporters and stuff now.
Yeah.
So I enjoy getting to go. Anytime he wants me to go do something, I'm hell yeah, I'm
Heck
go.
yeah.
We went up to the Chili Bowl earlier this year for just a random, like on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
He had to bring some trophies to the Twisted Tech guys for the iRacing stuff, and he was like, "You want to go?" Fuck yeah! So we went up there, and yeah, we had a hell of a time. He even got a speeding ticket on the way back on a road he wasn't even supposed to be on. We got to talking. He passed where the GPS said to turn. We was laughing about it. It was kind of funny, you know. And then the cop told him, he's like, "Man, you're the coolest guy I pulled over all day." Like, the guy hated to give him a ticket.
Yeah,
he was like,
yeah.
"Man, I don't want to, but I have to." You
Right.
know? But that was funny.
I don't know if you saw that little video I posted. I've been cutting that where I was on my phone before the or the 275 and doing different stuff with it, but had the GPS kept telling me in 400 feet turn left and 400 feet. So like I had my GPS on for the race. I'm like, somebody help me shut this off.
That's pretty funny, yeah.
But anyway, that was that. It didn't start off real. It's like I said, when I post them from my phone, for some reason, they fire up quick. When I do it on my computer, they seem to go, but they still catch on eventually. I don't know what the difference is.
I don't know, man. Social media stuff is so weird. I don't know. I ain't got it figured out. I'd like to act like I do, and some days I got it figured out.
Right.
And then the next day, it'll prove me wrong.
I don't know. I don't know how big.
I'll show. That's a big old comment.
Oh, it all fits on there.
Excuse me.
Asphalt's all backwards from dirt. Asphalt fun, it's just tedious. Further left, you can get all the roll center, the better. Plus, get the car settled. Some guys like big bar, soft spring, vice versa. Yeah, yeah. It was different. It was
the only thing I know about Asphalt really, setup wise, is that Martin won a bunch of races without a right rear spring.
Yeah,
and that's just because I seen him talking about it,
mm-hmm.
and I always thought that was a cool deal. He was trying to. He said it was too free, so he just kept. taking spring out of it. He took the spring out, you know. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but I don't know much about it. Like I said, my dad ran ARCA, and so he's got he's got some knowledge on that stuff. But that was late '90s. It was late '90s stuff.
Yeah,
that car he had was actually a Kodak car. I think it was who was driving that one? Was it Sterling Marlin or Kenny Irwin when it was a Lumina car? I can't remember, but that's what it was when he got it and made it ARCA. You know, it was all yellow. It said Kodak underneath the hood.
Right. That's cool stuff. I'm looking up. Yeah. I'm trying to
Google it. Ask ChatGPT.
You're right. That's not. But anyway. All right, it didn't come up.
Oh, but when Owen said he's pulling the right rear spring out of Crown Vic,
so
do it, fuck it.
When the time that I run the late model, one of the funny things was a buddy of mine, David. He was fast. He was dominating there, and he's like, he goes, "Do you have any questions?" And I'm like, because I was running really good on the dirt, and you know, and we went to a test there, and I'm just like, no, I don't even know enough about this to ask an intelligent question right now. Like I don't know. And he's like, okay. He goes, we run lockers, and he's like, you're gonna try and get pretty deep into the corner. And he's like, as soon as you can give it a little bit of gas, just give it a little. And he says that locks the locker back up, and like. He's going through all this stuff, you know, and I'm like, well, yeah, see, I wouldn't have known to ask that, you know, by any means.
Why would I know that? Oh, yeah. Terry Marshall, yeah, my dad racing and ARCA is on Walker, Texas Ranger. He was running second Texas Motor Speedway when the tire blew out. We ought to pull that clip up one day when we're on here.
Remind me and we'll get it.
What's funny is beer burps. I was on YouTube the other day, or I just clicked on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of those little suggested videos was on there, and it was like top 20 worst ARCA crashes. And in the little clip picture or whatever, it was Dad's car, on fire on its side.
Right.
I was like, what the hell? So I watched it. And of course, the dude gets our name, butchers my last name, even though the announcer says it right. He goes in and butchers it. Like, you didn't watch the video?
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it was on 2 episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger. I know they're on YouTube. It's called Team Cherokee episodes, and it's on there. And they added some other wrecks. I think Bobby Labonte's wrecking with him at some point, and he wasn't even in the damn race. But Eric Norris, Chuck Norris's son, was actually racing back then, and he was in the car with the film crew camera in it, and Dad had just lapped him, and he was behind him, and he catches the wreck and stuff. Of course, didn't get a dime out of it.
Right.
But yeah, so he was on there. He was on there for both episodes. Same car wreck in both episodes. Same wreck. But they reclipped the car, built a new body on it, and he went and raced several more races after that. So that was the first race he had qualified for. Blew the motor up in practice, sold some property over the phone, buys somebody's spare motor, and then goes that last person qualifies ninth, and he was up there running second. So,
right on.
Yeah.
Those guys,
Ted, I'm drinking.
So the karate guy you just mentioned, and I forgot his name.
Chuck Norris.
Jet
Li.
And Ted Nugent, when we used to race desert cars, they drove some Nissan trucks. They had kind of a class that was
their own. I mean, they were teammates or what?
No, they were. Like I said, I think Nissan had like almost like what would be a spec class now. We didn't call it that way back then.
Yeah,
but yeah, both of those guys were out and doing some desert racing way back when. So I was 14 then, so that's 35 years ago.
You know who does some of that desert racing shit now? Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he just won like a championship or a race or something not long ago. Woo, fuck. Excuse me. Jesse follows him a lot. He was like, yeah, do you know he was doing this? I was like, no. Because, I mean, he's close to Dad's age, I think.
Right.
Now. And, yeah, it was like, he out here racing and shit. I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
Clinton said that Lee needs a drink. Red Cap needs a drink. Well, Lee don't drink.
Yeah. It's not the state of Texas has decided me not to drink for a little while. And it wasn't DUI related, but I did get into some trouble, and it's just a part of it's a part of the deal I made.
You'll get that on them big jobs.
Yeah, even though it didn't have anything to do with what I did. So anyway, here Red Bull. I'm on the Red Bull. That's just about as hard as I.
They give you wings. We're at the same size can.
Yeah. Mine's thinner but taller.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say: long and thin gets her in, but short and thick does the trick.
I did not know they say that, but okay, now I do.
Yeah, that's what they say.
So, well, we've been at it over an hour.
Owen thought it was funny you said karate guy. Yeah, it's kind of funny you didn't know Chuck Norris. Like, you're in Texas now. Everybody knows Chuck Norris.
Well, so when I went to the hospital here a while back, my blood pressure was skyrocket, and they said I avoided a stroke somehow. But there's since I've been back, some of my memory I think is not as good as it was before I went in there, and it seems to be especially with names. And just like I was going to tell that story, and
I'm Billy.
Yeah, well, I know that. Yeah. I know that. Well, I do appreciate you wearing the Uncle Billy shirt over every now and then.
Just a reminder. Just a reminder.
But yeah, names, but I'm getting older too, But it just seemed like it went pretty hard right there at that time.
I don't know a lot about medical stuff, but it seemed like some pretty high numbers for some.
Yeah, it was a bad
shit. I don't know.
It was a bad deal.
Yeah,
but
overachiever there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terry. Fuck yeah. Yeah, he said if you did that, if you did it sober, you can imagine what you could do drunk.
Well, yeah.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Like it's just like that meme though. Like in alcohol's defense, I've done some pretty stupid shit sober too. Exactly.
Yeah.
I've done some really crazy stuff drunk, but I've done some pretty crazy stuff sober too.
Sometimes there's stuff that you wouldn't do sober if you were drunk.
Yeah,
I'm too drunk to do this dumb shit.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean,
different mindset.
I don't get mean when I'll probably tolerate more bullshit than when I'm drunk than when I'm sober.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how that come about. I just didn't tolerate no bullshit, and I got a charge over it.
Yeah, well, so it happens.
Anyways,
so what all we got left here? Closing her down. I don't remember what all we were going to talk about.
Yeah, we didn't have a real big list.
I'm racing Crown Vics at Houston Motorsports Park next weekend, the 19th. Look out for that. I'm sure it'll be on Race on Texas.
Well, we'll throw addicted
to dirt. I got the hat
up there. I got the shirt and the hat.
The hat.
All the cool kids are doing it.
Oh yeah, and I got my Infiltrator merch stuff on.
Shop a2d.com and yeah,
Infiltrate. It's on the top of the page.
So
Facebook page.
Here's one thing. I'd been designing a shirt, and I thought, well, I'll kind of let the people decide whether they want the little logo that I put on the front, or I thought I might have a little more cool saying. And it was fuel, dirt, and steel. I just thought that was kind of hit,
Yeah.
So I put a poll on. Nobody wanted that. And I'm like, I'm glad I put a poll on there because I thought that was cool.
I hadn't seen the poll.
And
was it on Facebook?
Yeah, it was on the Dragonslayer lighter side page.
I ain't seen it.
I'm like, that's a cool saying. Like, somebody might rather have that on the front that's like not committed to, and then my logo, my design on the back, And apparently not.
I never seen that.
So
and I follow the page. So I don't know.
It didn't get
I hate Facebook stuff.
It didn't get a whole lot of response, but what it did was 99% for just the little logo on there, not the cool saying I come up with.
But like I get the ones like I got my new shirt from Australia stuff, Big Tipper shirt, and which you can get at Highline Race Gear in Australia, and there's a bunch of stuff on there. I mean, you can get bra and panties on there, I think, and like underwear and wallets and whatever with my name and logo on it or whatever. So if you're in Australia and you're watching Highline Race Gear, I've got some stuff pinned at my page for that. The U.S. on my page, I still have the Big Tipper car on there, but some of them I like. There's the little logo on the front. If the car is on the back, I want a big one personally.
Yeah,
but sometimes it costs more, so I got a lot of little ones.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Buy merch from Addicted to Dirt. Man, they got some really cool stuff. We're teaming up for the Mike Parker Memorial. I'll be in Australia, so I'm going to have them there helping sell my merch along with their merch. So make sure you go by their booth and get all that stuff took care of, and buy hats, buy shirts. They got some really cool stuff.
Will the Crown Vic race be live?
Will it be live? It will be live on Race On. If you haven't got a Race On subscription, just go ahead and get it. It's worth it. 50% of what you pay for every month goes to the track you're choosing. For that, make sure you choose the HMP.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's why I saw there was a big debate about but yeah, that's cool that they're trying to give back to the.
Well, I don't know of any other streaming service that does that.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't know enough about how it hurts local numbers. Okay, of fans going into the race.
Yeah,
but if you can show your sponsors,
hey, I'm on TV.
Yeah, that's a deal. So I went to school with Casey Mears. Right?
Did you? You've never told me that.
Yeah, it was DUI school.
Oh.
We were.
wait just a fucking minute.
Me and Casey Mears were in DU high school together, and so they. But
you act like y'all went to fucking high school together.
Right, I always tell people that because he's like 10 years younger than me, or at least, and I'm like, yeah, me and Casey went to school together. It was DU high school, but he was talking about at that time they were doing some of the off-road stuff, and Rick and Rogers still had their hands in the indie stuff.
Yeah.
And so our instructor was pretty cool. And he asked him, he's like, what do you have going, and he's just like, we're just looking at who's going to have the best TV package right now. Yeah. Wherever has the best TV package is whatever series that I'm going to work at getting into for whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was 25 years ago. And so now you're getting that coverage on the streaming services and stuff, which is.
See, that's my deal is I have a good following, but I'm not good at marketing myself for sponsors. And that's something I've got to work at. I might ask ChatGPT about that. Another thing, Clinton, if you get the race on, you can watch Billy Down Under.
See,
and Billy in the Pits.
He says he'd like to watch you go kick ass. I think that's for you and the Crown Vics, but
yeah,
that's for me. That's why I don't get to drink.
Yeah. There's court documents about that. I don't know if there's video proof, but
I don't know who he said that for, but that's why I don't get to drink.
Yeah. He also said cheat up the Crown Vic. Hopefully that's the one I'm getting. Hopefully there's one down there that they've got that's been tampered with. I'm gonna bring my own tire dope. It's BYO TD. But anyways, we're winding her down here. We're a little over an hour. I don't know. We ain't got nothing else to talk about, I reckon. But
I did revamp. I got a new name, bridleracks.com. If you know any horse people, it all goes to the same site. But anyway, I kind of revamped my website, got it a little more.
Those are good for other stuff too.
Bridle rack.
Those make badass coat racks and
I've had people get them as coat racks and whatever.
Yeah, they look badass. And they're customized.
Since I do them here, we can change them to. I have the 4, 6, and 8 hook on my website, but I've done them 10 hook, and I've done singles and 2 and 3 and whatever.
And then what you did some for with the 4, 6 ranch.
Yeah, the 4, 6s.
They're
one of their managers. Yeah, the 4, 6s that you might have seen on Yellowstone. One of their managers got a hold of me, and I did just 2 for them. I'm hoping I'll get to do some more, but
I mean, you do a lot of those things. I've come over and helped you do some powder coating on them and stuff. And when you get an order, you get a fucking order.
Right, yeah. Well, I do singles also, but they talk about how we need to bring back jumping cars at racetracks.
But right now, I'm stretching my back, getting ready. We're going to do some crazy stuff in the future. Me and Owen, we got some stuff going on. I'm headed tomorrow to Bubba Seals' shop. And Seals Hot Rod Shop, anyways, to pick up a Crown Vic. We're going to do some crazy shit with it. So be looking at a Owen Pittman Ram track here pretty soon because we're going to do something. We're either hitting a big ramp, a little ramp, or we're going to just fucking
a loop.
We're gonna do a death loop. We're gonna jump the whole track. I'm jumping the grandstands. But we're jumping the nearest elementary school. We're gonna do something crazy. It's gonna be fun.
I was in Pahrump, Nevada, and they had a desert truck come in there and do an exhibition.
Yeah,
and they did some TT racing or something too, because there was a jump in the middle of the racetrack. Because I parked on it. I won there one time. Parked on it to do it. But anyway. I'm glad that truck wasn't racing with us. That son of a bitch was. After he did all his jumping, he went about 3 laps on the racetrack. And I was like, there wasn't a car there that was going to keep up with what that thing had. It was insane.
I follow some page that posts a bunch of videos from some track, and I cannot think of the name of the track, but it's an asphalt track, and it could be wherever you're talking about. I don't know. But it was an asphalt track, and they always got something crazy going on. I always send it to Owen give him ideas.
Right.
Hey, you want to do this? But they had one, and they didn't have the outer fence. They don't have one. It's a pretty tall wall or whatever. And the damn truck comes jumping in from outside the track to the infield, goes around, hits another ramp. But then I seen other videos of him going around the track like that. And I was like, he's fucking booking it.
That's funny you say it. There at part of the pits was in an old gravel pit. Yeah. So you pit in an actual pit. And that's where that guy come out of. We had to move for him. They parked us there. We didn't have to move, but we did. Yeah. And he come out of that gravel pit, and there was a 2-lane road, and then some section to the wall of the track. And he come out of that gravel pit and completely cleared that wall and bailed right into the center of the racetrack. That was his grand entry.
Yeah.
And we were just like, holy shit.
Jaden, it's not Freedom Factory, because I know this track has a inner wall on it that I'm talking about. But Freedom Factory does a lot of cool stuff. And hoping that maybe they'll ask me to come down there and do some Crown Vic racing or something, or one of the Rangers or whatever the hell they got going on down there at some point. I think that'd be cool. I don't know their specifications on following. I might not have enough followers. I don't know.
So if Owen's still on here, I do have this idea for a feature lineup.
Yeah.
10 tricycles with, instead of regular wheels on the back, you get the biggest tricycles you can so they're okay for an adult.
Yeah.
And put casters on the back 2 wheels so that they got to deal with the back. And start the top 10 in the main event. They have to race 2 laps around something on these tricycles, and that's how they get the lineup. I think that would be great entertainment.
Owen loves doing shit like that. When I was down in November, it was we went to a gun range right down the road, and they had to shoot skeet, and that's how they determined the top 10. Or it might have been top 6 or 8 or whatever it was. Yeah. I can't remember, but it was they shot skeet. Yeah. And I thought that was entertaining as hell,
But my buddy Chris Kearns, that does a Wild West shootout and stuff, he likes to do a lot of that. So, and it's cool. It's
you got to have something there for the fans, and keep them entertained. Owen's all about that, and I try to send him ideas when I got them, and he's usually got better ones, but. I'm looking forward to going down there and hanging out with him again this year. And next weekend ought to be a lot of fun. I'm gonna bring my 360 cam, put it in the car, so hopefully I can get some footage of that too.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. We just have fun. It's all about fun. If you're not having fun racing, fucking sell that piece of shit.
Yeah, because it costs way too much.
I even have bad nights where I'm like, this. I still had fun. I might be mad right now.
Right. I was going to say, I go through that point of not.
Yeah, you have your lows, but guess what you do? That usually the days where I have a bad time is I start working on the car sooner than I would if I had a good time.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
All right. We better get off here.
Yeah, we're going to get off here.
Owen says keep sending him ideas.
I will. We'll drink about them.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for following along. Thanks for all the comments and the views and the shares. Go watch our comics. What's up there, Luke? You got in a little late. You had to rewatch, but we're here for you, buddy. And anyways, buy some Tractor Tire merch, Addicted to Dirt merch. Make sure you go to DragonslayerInc.com.
Dragonslayer IND, or Dragonslayer Industries.
Or BridleRacks.com.
BridleRacks.com. It all goes to the same place.
It all goes to the same place. And we will see y'all next Tuesday.